Hello everyone, welcome back to Hayley's Space. My name is Hayley and I'm a nurse and knitter from Melbourne, Australia, and this is my knitting podcast. Now, I haven't filmed a video since December last year, and that wasn't on purpose. The year just completely has got away from me. The last 3 months have just flown by, and by the time I was able to pick up my camera and film an episode, it literally was April. I think this is going to be a pretty long one. I do also have some vlog footage that I'm going to put at the end of this podcast, so grab yourself a nice warm beverage and get cozy. Grab your crafting, your knitting, your crochet, your cross stitch, whatever it is. Let me know in the comments down below what you are working on. I really need some good inspiration this year. The weather in Melbourne has started to get cold and rainy. We've kind of hit, April, which is when it gets cold and a bit dreary here in Melbourne, gearing up for winter. So I need some wintry autumnal knits. I know that's maybe not relevant for those of you who live in the Northern Hemisphere, which I know is a fair few of you, but please give me some inspo. If you are new here, welcome. I follow a standard podcast format, so I'll talk about finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions if relevant, and plans, and then obviously a bit of knitty life update chat thrown in here and there, and sometimes some little vlogs and things like that. So I'm going to start off with a little life update because a lot has actually happened at the start of this year. So we started off January pretty chill actually. My parents came to visit, which was really lovely for New Year's. They went on their hiking holiday and they enjoyed their gift knits. If you were watching Vlogmas, you would have seen me wrap those up, and they really enjoyed those. So they took those with them on their little hiking holiday, and then they came to visit on their way home. And then February rolled around, and for those of you who've sort of been keeping up, I am trying to get into postgraduate medicine here in Australia. Unfortunately, I wasn't accepted for 2024, so I decided to enroll in an honours degree for this year. I'm not sure of what the international equivalent to an honours degree is. I'm not sure if it's something that exists overseas. I don't really know. If you are aware of the international equivalent of honours, please let me know. I would find that really interesting to hear about. But basically, an honours degree is an extra year or 18 months that you attach onto your bachelor degree here in Australia, and it's kind of like a research practice year, if that makes sense. They teach you how to conduct research in your specific field. So for me, that's in nursing. So I'm doing a Bachelor of Nursing honours year, and you basically pick a research project or you work on an existing project, and then you produce a thesis at the end of the year. So I have enrolled in that, and I'm doing that full-time whilst working part-time as a nurse. So that has taken up a significant portion of my time, especially a lot of my knitting time. Last year was the first year where I was working and not studying at all, and I didn't realize how much free time I actually had and how much time I actually spent knitting during the day. So a lot of my knitting time has unfortunately been taken up with study time, which is fine. I'm just trying to find, I guess, a new balance for all of that. Yeah, it's been really busy. It's been a little bit stressful. Postgraduate studies is no joke. I thought the transition from bachelor to working as a nurse was a bit of a shock, but it is nothing like transitioning from undergraduate to postgraduate studies. You are completely not on your own, but it's sort of a sink or swim sort of experience. You kind of have to really devote a lot of your time and energy to making sure you're on top of things. We don't have any, weekly classes. Our seminars are once every month, I think. So very few and far between. So it's very self-directed, it's very self-led. So that's been a new experience. Along the same lines of trying to get into medicine, I did sit another GAMSAT exam last month. So that was also taking up a lot of my time. I was doing a lot of study for the GAMSAT. That's the medical school admissions test here in Australia, and it's also in the UK and Ireland as well. I think that's going to be my last GAMSAT that I sit for maybe a year. I'm not going to sit it in September again. We'll see if I get into medicine for next year. If I do, that's great. If I don't, then yeah, we'll probably sit a GAMSAT next year. But I'm gonna have a break from that. I'm gonna focus on my thesis and try and get that done and out of the way. I did a fair amount of interstate travel at the start of the year. I went to go visit my boyfriend who lives in Canberra. He's currently training in the Australian Army. So I flew up to see him a couple of times, and he's just left yesterday. He came to visit for the Easter weekend, which was so lovely. I was intending to go up there, but he decided that he wanted to come home for a couple of days, which was just such a special treat and just felt so lovely to have him back here, even if it was only for 2.5 days. So yeah, it was lovely to have him here. I did also travel to Queensland to go visit my granddad, which was lovely. And then the last thing I have to update you on is that I went to the Eras Tour. I went to the Eras Tour Melbourne Night 3 show here in Melbourne with my best friend's sister, and my brother. My brother flew over from Western Australia to come to that concert, and we just had the most incredible time. I did make my own outfit. I made a sort of Midnights inspired bodysuit from scratch. I will link the pattern that I used down below. It's just from Spotlight, I think. No, it's not McCall's. I can't remember what pattern designer it is, but I will attach it down below. It's just from Spotlight, and all the fabrics and materials I used were also from Spotlight as well. We had the absolute best time. We made heaps of friendship bracelets and traded a bunch of them, and the show was just spectacular. So that was a fantastic part of my February and sort of set the year off right. So in between all of that, I did manage to do some knitting, and I have a few finished objects to share with you. I'm not really sure where to start. I have 2 sweater finished objects, quite a few accessories, and then some homeware-y sort of finished objects. Why don't we start? Let's start with the sweaters, because I'm kind of excited about those. The first sweater that I finished was my simple sweater, which is a pattern handmade by Florence. I knit this up using 4 Seasons half and half, which is a 50% acrylic, 50% wool blend, and that's just from Spotlight, which is our big commercial craft store here in Australia. This is my second time knitting this pattern. The first time I knit this pattern up, I used just some Stash acrylic yarn held double, and I really love that sweater. I use that as my sort of lounging around the house sweater when it's really cold. I find that really warm because it's very thick. It's a very large gauge, but I wanted to knit one up that's in more of a versatile color. The first one that I knit up is in like a peachy pinky sort of color, mild with a white, so it's not that versatile with my wardrobe. I wear a lot of neutrals, so I wanted to knit up a cream one, and I had this yarn sitting in my stash and just wanted to use up as much of it as I could. I don't remember which size I picked. I think I picked the size that was suggested for my bust measurement and the ease suggested in the pattern, and I'm not a huge fan of the way this fits. When I was knitting it up, I was like, oh yeah, that's the perfect size, and then I tried it on when it was done and it just wasn't how I envisioned, which I think is fine. I think it's a little bit tight, especially the ribbing. It sort of cinches in. I hate when ribbing cinches in like that. I think what might actually be the problem, I can't remember whose vlog I was watching or whose podcast I was watching, but I realized that this is 50% acrylic, and I blocked this in just lukewarm water with wool wash, but it's acrylic. There's a tram again. As I was saying, it's acrylic, and acrylic needs heat in order to block and sort of loosen up. So I'm thinking I'm intending to get a steamer eventually this year, so I might steam block it when I get a steamer, or I might just chuck it in some really hot water and hope that it loosens up a little bit and has a bit more drape and shape to it. The sleeves are the perfect length. It's just the body that's just shaped a bit funny. At the moment, I say when I wear it, I've only tried it on a couple of times. It's been way too hot here to wear. We've just finished up summer, so there are so many trams today. It's literally midday. Like, where is everybody going? When I've worn it, I've just folded the ribbing up to kind of give it that tucked in sort of effect with like a like a knit skirt, and that looks really cute. So I'm excited for winter to roll around so I can finally wear some of my knits. And yeah, I'm gonna hopefully be able to style this one. Oh, I forgot to say, I made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake, it was a rookie error. When I was knitting the ribbing, I wanted to try on this sweater to see how long it was and see how much more ribbing I needed to knit. And I was being lazy because there's a lot of stitches. I think it's fair enough for me to be lazy in this scenario, but I decided not to put the stitches on any scrap yarn to try it on, and I don't have any barber cords, so I just decided to try it on, and then I was like, I'll pick up the stitches when, you know, I put it back on the needles when I take it off. But when I picked the stitches back up, the ribbing turned out ugly. It's only this section where I dropped the stitches. And I really was thinking, you know, oh, I'm going to block it, it'll block out, it'll be fine. But then blocking didn't change this sweater at all. So now it's just kind of ugly. But it's fine. I've already spilt coffee on this sweater. Where is it? It's my little coffee stain. In the middle. I don't know if you can see it, but I've already spilt coffee on it. So I'm thinking this is just, instead of being the nice cream dressed up sweater that I wanted it to be, we might just leave it as a warm, cozy house sweater. We'll see. But yeah, that's my simple sweater by Handmade by Florence. I will knit this pattern again. I love it. It's perfect for beginners. It's super easy. She holds your hand through the whole pattern. There's a video to accompany it. It's a fantastic pattern. So I would recommend this if you're looking to knit up your first sweater. This is the perfect choice. Okay, the next finished object I'm so freaking excited to show you. I literally finished this 3 days ago and it's pretty much finished drying now. Oh, I wonder if you got a snippet of it. I'm so excited to have this off my needles. I really, really wanted to finish this by March and I achieved that and I'm so proud. This is my porcelain sweater by Lynette. If you guys have been following along, I have been slaving away on this sweater on and off for months. Instead of holding it up because it's quite large, I'm just going to put some b-roll here for you while I talk about it. I think I cast this on September last year with the intention of making a progress or project vlog for you guys, but it ended up taking months and months and months for me to finish. I kept putting it down and picking it back up. I made some mistakes in the color work, so I had to frog back and re-knit. I only did that once, I think, but it was a little bit disheartening, but it is finally off the needles and I'm so incredibly proud of it. It is perfection. I am so incredibly proud of this project. As I said, I wanted to have this done by the end of March. This sweater and the Moby sweater are the two that have really been kind of weighing on my mind over the last couple of months. I really, really, really want them both finished, ready for winter. So I said as long as I have my porcelain done by March and then my Moby hopefully by the end of April, I'll be happy. And so the porcelain is finished and I'm super happy with it. I'll tell you the yarn first. I'm using plotulopi in heathered marsh and heathered oatmeal. The marsh is the dark brown and the oatmeal is the light brown. I can't remember what size. I think I knit the fourth size. So I think that's a little bit more oversized than the pattern suggests. I like the fit. I'm very happy with the oversized nature of it. Unfortunately, with the bind off, because of the fragile nature of the plotulopi, it's unspun Icelandic wool, so it's very fragile. So when binding off, I couldn't do a tubular or Italian bind off because the yarn would just break, it would just dissolve. So I ended up doing just a regular knitted bind off, but I think that has sort of changed the way it fits. I also didn't size down a needle size for my ribbing. I hate when the ribbing of a sweater on the body cinches in. I hate the way that it looks, but I honestly think that I should have done it here. It has sort of a weird cone shape instead of being straight when I wear it, and I think that might be because of the ribbing. It could also be the way that I blocked it. I did just lay it flat on a drying rack and sort of stretched out the ribbing so that it was straight. But I think the main thing is that I didn't size down for the ribbing, and I also just did the regular knitted bind off because obviously Italian or tubular bind off does cinch in the bottom of ribbing. So I think those were all contributing factors, but honestly, I don't care. I love it. Also, because of the drapey, fragile nature of the plotulopi, the neckline has grown quite a bit, and I think I'm just going to put some elastic in the neckline and cinch in a bit, and maybe that might sort of lift up the front and the back a little bit so it doesn't have that weird coning, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure when I will do that. At some point, I'm sure. It's definitely not cold enough to be wearing this sweater. I did knit it just holding the yarn single, but even still, it's so incredibly warm. It's so toasty in that sweater, so I will not be wearing it until it is freezing cold, which will happen. Just realized someone's gardening outside, so I apologize if you can hear all of that. Yeah, I'm really happy that that one's done. I don't really think I have anything else to add. I didn't make any modifications. Actually, no, I did. The sleeves, I don't know why I did this, but I didn't do the second set of stockinette decreases on the sleeves. I just went straight into the ribbing and just did an extra long ribbing. I don't know why I did that. I think I just prefer the way ribbing, like long ribbing, looks. I think that's the only modification that I made. I think the pattern has a folded neckline, and I think I only did like 2 rows of stockinette at the bottom before starting the ribbing. Yeah, 2 rows of stockinette at the bottom before starting the ribbing, so really not much at all. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that one came out. I'll post some pictures on my Instagram for you guys so you can see it. I'll talk about my Instagram a little bit later, but yeah, I'll post on there when I can. So those are my 2 big finished objects. We're going to move on to smaller ones now. I have a few accessories and some homeware sort of stuff to share with you. The first ones, I have spoken about this project a lot. I've knit up, I think this is my 6th pair of these now, so I've talked about these a lot. Feel free to skip forward if you don't want to hear me yap on about this project again, but I knit another pair of penny gloves by Petite Knit. It's just a dark chocolatey brown pair. I knit these up using some stash acrylic yarn that I had lying around, and I didn't make any changes to the stitch counts. I got gauge, I think with a 3.5 millimeter needle, I'm not sure. It's a very tight knit. This yarn is thicker than what is called for in the pattern, so the gauge is very tight, which is great because I want my hands to be warm. I love this pattern. I will always love this pattern. I will continue to knit this pattern, I think, till the day that I die. It kind of feels like sock knitting, but without all the fuss of heels and toes. It just feels easy. It feels quick. It's potato chippy stockinette. It's perfect for when I'm at work and there's nothing going on. It's perfect for knit walking. It's perfect when I'm on night shifts and I'm just sitting there and need something to do with my hands. This pattern's great. So, talked about it a million times before. I was planning on making a matching beanie, but I've decided to actually do something else with this yarn now. So, that's those. They're really, really simple, really easy. They're just, because it's acrylic, I'm hoping to just wear these to death. And hopefully they'll hold up. We'll see. All right, some more stash busting for you. This beanie, look, it's a little bit of a fail. I don't know what I was doing. I sort of just cast on and went for it. And I'm not happy with how it's come out, but I'm not going to change it. So I knit up this beanie. As you can see, there's sort of a two-tone situation. I've got mohair in my eye. There's sort of a two-tone situation going on. So I knit this up using 4 Seasons half and half. So some of the leftovers from this sweater. And I held that with the Drops Kid Silk mohair until I ran out of mohair. And if I was thinking and I was being smart, I would have knit this portion in the white and then knit the top with the mohair, holding the mohair. But I wasn't thinking, and I really thought that I was going to have enough mohair for this entire beanie. As you can see, it's bloody huge. I cast on just a random number of stitches and just started knitting and ribbing, and then decided I wanted the rest of it in stockinette, and I made this hat. Oh, it looks ridiculous. Yeah, look, it is what it is. I did 3-point decreases on the top. If I wanted to, I could fold this down, but it looks insane. And I'm not thinking that I'm gonna frog it, but I don't know. I was thinking, oh, maybe I could felt it, but because it's got acrylic content in it, I'm not sure if it will felt properly. I think it's kind of cute, actually. I think if I styled it a certain way, it kind of looks like those really fuzzy headbands that you can wear that's like kind of classy, kind of stylish, if you know what I mean. But a fail. Self-drafted fail. I'm not particularly skilled at self-drafting. I'm much better at just following a pattern. I've got mohair in my nose. I'm not particularly skilled at self-drafting. I'm better at following a pattern and behaving myself, but you know, gotta try something new sometimes, and I thought I learnt my lesson with self-drafting after this, but you'll see in a second that I didn't. So that's that one, weird scrappy beanie. I'm not gonna get rid of it. I'm not gonna frog it. I think it has a place in my wardrobe. It'd be great for skiing, but that's that. As I said, I thought I learnt my lesson with self-drafting beanies, but I didn't, and so I cast on another one. I cast this beanie on when I was in Canberra. I can't remember when I cast it on though. Oh no, I cast on at work. I was at work one afternoon, I had this yarn in my bag, and I was like, oh, I'm really bored, I'm gonna cast something on. And I cast on, I think 100 stitches maybe, or like 80 stitches, and knit a ribbing, and then I wanted to knit the rest in stockinette, so I did. This is using 4 Seasons pure woolen twine, sorry, which is a 100% wool yarn, and as you can see, I don't know what I was doing with my decreases. Self-drafted them. I didn't follow a pattern. I probably should have started the decreases earlier, which would have made a more clean decrease. I kind of had to decrease more rapidly. You know what? I don't mind it. It's okay. I think that I could take this hiking with me and it can get sweaty and whatever else because it's wool, and it won't be an issue. So I think it definitely has its place, but yeah, another self-drafted beanie that wasn't perfect, but is what it is. It was quick, it was easy, gave me something to do with my hands, so served a purpose. All right, I'm gonna talk about my last accessory that I made, and this is something that I don't have anything like this in my wardrobe at all. Well, I didn't until I knit this. This is the Harris hood by Coco Amour. This is just a hood pattern that I found on Ravelry, and I'm obsessed. I will try it on so you can see because I actually love it. I was very skeptical about this pattern. I wasn't sure if I was going to be a hood wearing kind of gal, but alas, here we are. I think it's so cute. I think it's perfect. Yeah, I don't have any hoods or balaclavas in my wardrobe. I've never knit up a hood or a balaclava. So I wanted to try, and I love the way this came out. This is using, where are we? Keepsake Fiberco, 100% organic wool. I don't know if you can see that. Nope, you cannot. And I think I used a 4mm needle, maybe a 4.5. And I love it. I was about to talk about the construction, but it's not free. So I'll link it down below so you guys can check it out. But I think it was just fantastic. I finished this in like 2 days. I was just obsessed with it. It's got this beautiful double folded brim around the face and decreases at the back, so it's kind of not just a big sack on your head. It was really small when I knit it up, and I was getting really nervous. I was like, I meant gauge, like what do you mean, like why is it so like tight around my face? And then I blocked it, and this just bloomed. This yarn just grew beautifully. And honestly, I'd love to knit this pattern up again in this exact yarn in a different color. Now my only gripe with this pattern is this really short ribbing section at the bottom. I think it's only a couple of rows of ribbing and then you go into a tubular bind off, and it's really just not my cup of tea. It looks a bit scraggly, it looks a bit messy, which is fine. I think if I was to knit this up again, I'd knit this ribbing portion a little bit longer, and I might just do an Italian bind off rather than doing the rows of slip stitches for tubular, if that makes sense. So love this. Can't wait to style it in winter. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to style it, but I love it. I'd love to take it skiing. I can just see myself wearing this like in the snow. But yeah, obsessed with this one. So those are all my garments and accessories. I'm going to talk about some little homewares that I knit now. Actually, none of them are knit. They're all crochet homewares. The first thing I'm going to show you are these coasters. I crocheted these coasters literally in a day, I think. They were self-drafted, kind of based off of something I saw on Instagram or on Pinterest, I can't remember. Basically, you start with a magic ring, magic circle with 6 half double crochets in there, and then you just increase each round. So on the first round you do 2 half doubles in each chain or each stitch, and then the next round it's an increase in every second, increase in every third, and you go around like that. And then to kind of get this effect on the edge, I did half double crochets in the 3rd loop. So when you look at a crochet V, maybe I'll put a picture up here because this isn't going to be able to show you very well. When you look at a crochet V, you've got your 2 on the top, and then if you turn them towards yourself, you'll see at the back there's another loop that crosses over at the back. That's your 3rd loop. So half double crochets in there, and that gives that really cool effect on the edge. See, I made 4 of these. This is just some cotton yarn I had in stash. Not sure of the brand, not sure where I got it. I'm really happy with these. I've been using these on my dining table. They look really good down there in our dining room. I'm just using them for my coffee, and that's been really, really cute. The next thing that I crocheted are these crochet pot holders. I made these when I was last on night shift, which I think was in January, February. And I was watching some podcasts before I headed to work one of the nights, and I was watching Alexandra from FibreBound. Hello if you're watching. And I saw her crochet up these pot holders. I will link the pattern down below because I cannot remember the life of me what the name of it is, but they're beautiful. You start with a chain and then you sort of go around and around. I don't know if that makes sense, until you get to the square shape, if that makes sense, and then you slip stitch them together. It's super, super easy. I don't think I explained that very well. The pattern is really clear and really easy to follow, and I just made 2 of them and they've been perfect. They've been exactly what I need. I've also been using them on the kitchen bench to rest hot pots on, and that's been fantastic. And I love them. They fit the aesthetic of our house really well. And yeah, this is another cotton yarn. I can't remember the brand. It's from Spotlight. I will link it down below so you guys can see. But yeah, really, really happy with those. They've been really functional and really, really nice to have. Okay, 2 other crochet things, but I don't have them here. The first one was a crochet plant pot cozy, which I made using this same yarn. I did the same technique as these coasters, but just increased until it was the size of the base of my pot. And then I did the half doubles through the back loop, and then I continued upwards, just no increases, just straight upwards until it reached the size of my plant pot. And I keep my fiddle leaf fig in that, and it just protects the floor, and it's kind of like little pajamas for my plant, and hopefully we'll keep it a little bit warmer during the winter because our house gets really cold, and I don't like my houseplants being cold because then they don't grow. So Very quick and easy, very cute, matches the aesthetic of the house perfectly, so really happy with those. Then I made a crochet hammock. I will link the tutorial below. The girl whose tutorial I follow, she posts a lot of crochet tutorials on her channel. Her videos are great. They talk you through absolutely everything from beginning to end of the projects, and her videos are just perfectly curated for beginners. So definitely check out her stuff down below. I'll pop a picture in. I just popped the hammock on the wall above my bookshelf, and I'm keeping some yarn in it at the moment. It's not the best place to keep yarn. I am scared about moths, and the yarn that's in there at the moment is 100% wool, so it's not really the best choice, but what can you do? I think it looks cute. Let me know if you have any ideas of what I should keep in there besides yarn. I would be happy keeping some yarn in there. But as I said, I am worried about moths. So let me know if there's anything else cute that you think I could keep in my little hammock. But that was really, really easy, really quick, really simple. I was really keen for some quick satisfaction projects, and that really hit the spot. The last finished object I have for you is a pattern from this book. This is the Harry Potter Knitting Magic pattern book. My boyfriend got this for me for my birthday, I think. Or for Christmas a couple years ago. He got me this one. This is the first volume. He also got me the second volume. He also got me the Disney knitting book from the same author, and then also the Star Wars one, which I'm really grateful for. I love, if I'm looking for some cute inspiration, or I'm just looking to look through some really nice knitting patterns, I love to pick these books up and have a browse. But the pattern I knit up is from, I'll try not to, yeah, there's no pattern information on this page, so I can show you. This pattern here is the one that I selected. I was looking through my stash, and I have a lot of small quantities of yarn, just little bits and pieces left over. I'm not a crazy scrappy like sock knitter, and all of the scraps that I have are all different weights and sizes, so it's not particularly something that I would want to use for, say, like a sweet shop blanket or anything like that. They're all really inconsistent in colors, textures, everything. So really random scraps of yarn. And I had a look through and realized I had all the scraps in different colors for this project. I know that this is a mobile for babies. What I'm planning to do is to make all of these different characters for the different Hogwarts houses and then put them on my bookshelf in sort of different spots. And then when we move to a bigger house and we have more of a library, I want to put them all together in a little section with all my Harry Potter books. Harry Potter is not really something that I choose to talk about on this channel for many reasons, but sometimes, you know, it is relevant to my knitting and things like that. So yeah, I decided to start that project, and the only one that I managed to knit up at the start of this year is the Hufflepuff Badger. I am a Hufflepuff, so this was the first one that I really wanted to knit up. Amigurumi is not my strong suit. I've never been good at it. What I really struggle with is the face, sewing on the face and sewing on the ears. It never comes out right. The proportions always end up being wrong. Even if I follow the exact stitch counts, somehow I managed to get it wrong. So he kind of looks more like a rat. I guess from this angle he kind of looks like a badger, but it's okay. I love him. He's been sitting up with all my special edition books, and he's just been super cute up there. So really happy with that one. I haven't knit up any of the other characters yet, but they're really, really quick. This maybe took me an hour, maybe max, and I really enjoyed knitting him up. So he's also stuffed using a lot of my yarny scraps, which is great. I wanted to get through a fair chunk of those, so really happy with that project. Oh my god, that's all my finished objects. Somehow I still feel like I'm missing things, but I don't think I am. So let's talk about works in progress. My next major work in progress that I'm going to be trying to finish is my Moby sweater. I don't have that one with me. I'm not going to yap on too much about it because I've talked about it a lot. It's been almost a year in the making now, I think, maybe more. And I'm really not that far at all. I'm just under where you join under the arms. I I have found that project really difficult to get through because when I put it down, I don't know where I'm up to in the cable pattern. I know how to find where I'm up to, but it's a bit disheartening. It's like I feel like I can't put it down because then I have to pick it back up again and then work out where I'm up to. I think what I'm going to do is put a progress keeper in either in the moss stitch or there's like a twisted knit stitch column, and I think I might put a progress keeper in the stitch in the row that corresponds to the cable row so that I can count from there and know where I'm up to in the pattern. And we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's the next major work in progress that I'm trying to get through. I'm knitting that up using 50 and 50 by 4 Seasons, again in a sort of browny creamy caramel color. So I'll put a picture of that there for you so you can see. But yeah, hopefully I can finish that by the next time. I don't think it'll be done by the next time I film a podcast because I am going away at the end of this month. If it's done by the end of May, I'll be really, really chuffed. I'll be really happy. There's a cable sweater that I want to cast on for my dad for Christmas, but I'm not going to try to distract myself with another cable sweater just because I don't want to knit on this one, if that makes sense. So I want to get that done. I'm excited to have the Moby. I'm excited to work on it. I'm excited to finish it. It's just, it feels like such a big project in my brain. So I think if I can break it down into smaller chunks, make myself feel a little bit better about it, then hopefully I can have it done soon, and then I can cast on my dad's cable sweater for Christmas and hopefully have that done in time. In the meantime, I do have some smaller works in progress. I forgot to say the Moby sweater is by Petite Knit, and so is this next work in progress. I have cast on another pair of Sunday socks. I'll stop my needles from clacking, sorry. I cast these on yesterday, and I have done the body of the sock, the heel turn, and the gusset decreases, and now I'm just at the foot stockinette portion. I love the Sunday socks. I've knit them up a couple of times now, and I was thinking about what I wanted to do with this yarn. This is Keepsake Fibre Co. 100% organic wool that I used for the Harris hood. I have 3 balls of this, I think, left over, including this ball. So, and I was thinking about what I wanted to do with it, and I thought I would love to have a cream pair of squishy socks. So I decided to cast on the Sunday socks by Petite Knit. I love this pattern. Perfect for beginners who want to get into sock knitting. It's on a larger gauge, and it has a little bit of ribbing as well, so you've got a little bit of give and a little bit of forgiveness with that. Sizing is not particularly crazy important because obviously the rib stretches. So perfect for beginners. Would recommend this pattern 100%. This yarn is really soft as well, and it's going to be super great on my feet. I'm intending to use these, as with all my knitted socks, I intend to use them not in shoes, but as house socks or bed socks. That's just what works for me. I don't usually knit socks. I've never knit socks with the intention to wear them in shoes. So, yeah. That's that work in progress. I'm hoping to have this sock done tonight. I am going back on night shifts tonight. I feel like every time I'm filming, I'm on night shift. But I'm going back on night shifts tonight for 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, before I go away on annual leave. So hopefully we'll have that done tonight. The next project I have to show you is a crochet project. This is using the same acrylic yarn that I used for my penny gloves that I spoke about earlier. It's this chocolatey brown acrylic yarn. And what I'm making with this is a project bag. I need more project bags. I do not have enough. I have 2 project bags. One of them I made myself. I'll put a picture here for you. One of them I made myself, and the other one my nan got for me for Christmas a couple years ago. But I just need some more project bags to be able to take my projects with me to work and also on holidays. So what I'm doing is I'm making these almost solid crochet granny squares using double crochets, American terms. I think that's a triple crochet, isn't that in UK? I'm not sure. And what I'm intending to do is to make up 5 of these total. So this is going to be the base, and then I've got the second one on the go at the moment, and then I'm going to attach them kind of around like that, almost like I'm making a cube. And then I'm going to put a drawstring in the top to make it a cinch bag. Yeah, super quick, super easy. This maybe took me less than an hour to make. So if I get bored tonight of my socks, or I finish one of the socks, I might continue working on this. I'm hoping to have that done by the next podcast. It'll be really good for keeping socks and beanie whips in, which is kind of the intended use. So really happy with that whip. That is everything on my needles at the moment. I kind of sped through my works in progress just because I don't really have a lot to say about them at the moment, which I think is okay. I don't want to harp on too much about everything and get sort of carried away. So next time you see me, those 2 works in progress should be done, and my moby should have some more significant progress, so I can talk to you a little bit more about that whilst showing you. I don't have any acquisitions to show you. I'm really trying to stash bust. Same plan as last year, really not trying to buy any yarn unless it's needed. I did add to my stash last year when I wasn't really supposed to. I wasn't on a strict yarn buying ban, but I really didn't want to be buying large sweater quantities that I wasn't intending to use straight away, and the same goes for this year. So I'm really trying to work through my stash, and I'm intending to make a stash plans video because almost every skein of yarn in my stash has a purpose, and I would love to share that with you guys so you know sort of what's coming up. I love those videos. I find them really enjoyable to watch. I like when people talk about their plans and what they want to knit and with what yarn, so I'm planning on making that soon. I wanted to ask for some suggestions on what I should do with some plotulopi that I have left over. I have knit up 2 sweaters now using plotulopi. The first one was a colorwork sweater by Drops Design, holding it double, and I used the heathered oatmeal as the main color, and then obviously the second one was my porcelain sweater holding that single. And I still have 2.5 plates of the heathered marsh and 1.5 plates of the heathered oatmeal. So I have a fair amount of it left. So I would really love some suggestions on what I should use that for. I'm not sure if I want to keep knitting up sweaters with that yarn. It's not something I can use for baby sweaters because of the rusticness, and also because of it's so fluffy. So those small fibers are not appropriate for baby sweaters or baby knits. And I wouldn't feel comfortable using that for children's knits either, just because of the itch factor. So let me know what I should knit up with that. Maybe another sweater is the way to go. I'm not really sure. Please give me your suggestions. If you have knit anything up in plotulopi, please let me know down in the comments. And if you have a Ravelry page dedicated to those projects with plotulopi, please also link them down below. I'd love to have a look at your projects and see what they look like with that specific yarn. I have picked up a new hobby this year. At the start of this year, I decided to learn to cross stitch. I feel like it's a fairly standard pipeline for sort of crafters. I went from crochet to knitting, and now I'm going kind of a little bit into cross stitch. But I put that project down, I think about halfway through February, and haven't picked it up ever since. You'll see some of it in the vlog at the end of this video, but I really haven't picked it up since like mid-Feb. I really enjoy cross stitch. I find it really therapeutic. Knitting, when I'm doing sort of stockinette, potato chippy stockinette, my mind is still running. It's still constantly talking to me. So when I do cross stitch, I find that I'm invested. I really have to focus, and that makes my brain go quiet. So I really enjoy it in that sense. It is very slow though. It's definitely a slow form of crafting. It's a slow form art, but I really kind of enjoy that part of it. When I was watching some, I can't remember, I think they're called Floss Tube. I know that obviously we have knitting podcasts. I think it's called Floss Tube, is for cross stitch. I was trying to get into some of those, and it just was boggling me that people are like, yeah, so this year I really just want to get this one project done, and you know, I have all of these kits and stuff in my stash, and I know that I can finish that one in 2 years time, and this one I'll be done with in 3 years, and they've got these huge big ones that are just taking forever. I was like, oh my god, this is going to take so long. But I kind of like that you have a project that kind of stays with you for years that you're working on slowly, I feel like that's going to be so much more rewarding when it's done. So I have that small one that I'm working on at the moment that I haven't picked up since February, and then I have a larger one that I'm really excited to work on. It's kind of like a cottage core kind of vibe, and I really want to get started on that one, but I've decided I want to finish this first one first and then I can start on the second one. Otherwise I'm just going to start a bunch of things and never finish them. So that's the plan for my cross stitch. If I have an update for you by the next video, I will show you, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe it's a night shift sort of thing. Maybe I'll take it one of the nights and see how we go. So that's all of my sort of crafting updates. I do want to let you know about some podcasts that I have been watching. There's a couple YouTube channels that I've found as well that aren't knitting focused, but I've been enjoying watching whilst knitting. So I've got them all written here so I can tell you. I've really been enjoying Sarah's Handmakes, Ivetta Bauman, I think that's how you say it. I love her videos, or maybe it's Bauman. As I said, with everything that I've mentioned will all be linked below. All these channels will also be linked below. I love her videos. I love the things that she knits. That's just been fantastic. Denim and Rain I've been watching a lot of, and Ribsybambi as well. And then I've been watching a lot of Cups and Thoughts vlogs. They are from, I think they're from Perth, Western Australia, which is kind of crazy because that's where I'm originally from. That's where I grew up. And so I love watching their vlogs. They have really aesthetic, like quiet vlogs that are really peaceful. They talk a lot about like things that they're reading, snacks. They do a lot of journaling. That's been really enjoyable to watch whilst knitting. It's really calming. So been really enjoying that. I want to quickly mention with my Instagram, I was hoping to be a little bit more active with that this year, but unfortunately I haven't had the time, and I don't think I'm going to have the time this year to devote to my Instagram. So my posts this year are going to be very few and far between. Feel free to follow me there. Sometimes I post a random Instagram story, or I'll post pictures of my finished objects. But I really don't have the time to devote to making reels and posting, you know, fairly regularly, things like that. Posting a lot on my story. Because I also don't knit every day as well, so I don't have a lot to update you on in that sort of sense. So yeah, my Instagram may lay dormant for a little while. We'll see what happens next year. I might increase my Instagram usage, we'll see. But until then, please bear with me and enjoy these videos as they come out. I always post on my Instagram as well when I post a new video. So if you do follow me over there, you'll get notified there when a video is up here. So this month, as I said, I'm doing night shifts for the majority of the month, well, for the entirety of the month, before I go on some annual leave. I'm excited to do night shifts. I really do like night shift. I like the group of people who are on nights. I love working with them. And I just find night shifts a bit more enjoyable for me. Then at the end of the month, I'm going away to Thailand. My partner and I are going to Thailand for a week. We're staying in a resort in Thailand and just going to be relaxing and enjoying some time off. This month is very much going to be working on my thesis, going to classes, hopefully some knitting, and then also hanging out with my boyfriend at the end of the month. It's going to be like a reward for getting through a busy month. So that's kind of what's going on with me. Alrighty, as always, please let me know down in the comments what you are working on at the moment, and if you do have any finished objects you'd like to share, please let me know down in the comments. Attach a Ravelry link if you want to. I always love checking out what you guys are working on, so feel free to have a chat with me in the comments. The next thing you're about to see is a little vlog that I've put together. As I mentioned earlier, I intended to make a project vlog for my porcelain sweater, but unfortunately didn't go ahead with that because it took so long. But I still have some footage from that. So I'm going to include some of that so you guys can kind of see my process and how I got to this finished object. since September last year, and then also some other bits and pieces of me working on some other projects. Let me know if you enjoy seeing this kind of vlog form content at the end of a podcast video. I know a couple people are doing it now on their podcasts, and I've really been enjoying that. So let me know if you like it. It shows a little bit more of the process of the projects that I talk about, so you can see them for a little bit longer and in some more detail. So yeah, let me know if you like it. I hope you are safe and well wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Spent most of my adult life with a chubby employee.
I have an update for you on my porcelain sweater. I just finished the colourwork chart, the first colourwork chart for the front panel. As you can see, it's rolling like crazy, but there it is there. It's like I guess it's like a snowflake motif, and I love it. I was obsessed when I finished this portion of the back panel, and now that I've done it and I'm looking at it again in the camera, I'm just obsessed again. I love it. So the first portion of the front panel is done, but I now need to do quite a few rows of stockinette in my main colour before I can join in the round. I'm just happy that I made it to the end of the colourwork chart. I didn't think I was going to make it, and I kind of almost gave up at one point, but I was like, no, you go back to work tomorrow, let's just punch this part out so that when you go back to work, in your free time when you're not at work, you can work on it in the round. I like the oversized fit. I think with the drop shoulder it'll hit probably about here, and I think that's gonna look good. I think I'll be happy with that eventually. I think it's hard to picture what it's actually gonna look like when it's rolled up and in tatters like this, but I think once it all comes together, I think it's going to be something I'm really proud of. And whilst I've been working on it, I've just been envisioning what it's going to look like when I wear it during winter, and I'm really excited. I have joined in the round. Oh shit, I'm losing stitches. As you can see, my needle is way too short for all of these stitches, but I think I'm just gonna live with it. I'm worried about having a cable that's so short with tensioning my colour work, but I think we're just gonna see how we go. I've made the main portion of my bodysuit, so the same shape I'm making for my best friend, just in this beautiful blend of these fabrics. So I've got 3 different fabrics on the go. So this is the white lining, then there's this blue kind of cloud ethereal fabric, and then there's this sparkly tulle that goes over the top, and that's what gives it that sparkly sheen. And I just think it's perfect. I can't wait to see these come together.
So, but the plan is that once I get that yarn,
I've just run out of mohair, but I am not about to order 1 ball of mohair just to finish this beanie. So I'm just going to continue to the top of the beanie in just the white yarn. Guys, I've got really bad cast-on-itis. My porcelain is sitting here, all it needs is 1 more sleeve. But I really, really want to cast on a balaclava in this like cream yarn, and I think I'm just going to cast it on tonight and just see how far I go. It's just a stockinette, it's more of a hood. I want to cast on a new project bag knit and also a crochet project. It's so bad. I think after knitting up the body and the first sleeve of my porcelain, I'm really needing some quick satisfaction knits.